please stand for the invocation and the Pledge of Allegiance. Loving Heavenly Father, we come to you this hour asking for your blessings and help as we are gathered together. We pray for your guidance in the matters at hand and ask that you would clearly show us how to conduct our work with the spirit and joy and enthusiasm. Give us the desire to find ways to excel in your work. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge
Allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, welcome. Before we go on any further, we have a new council member to be sworn in. Mayor Daniel. This is Daniel Mueller.
You got Jenny, you, me, and him.
He's in the wrong spot.
Just go ahead and raise your right hand.
On Madison,
I, state your name,
right by Justin.
do solemnly swear
Do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution
that I will support the Constitution
and laws
and laws
of the United States of America,
of the United States of America,
the Constitution and laws
the Constitution and laws
of the State of Ohio,
of the State of Ohio,
and laws and ordinances
and laws and ordinances
of the City of Mount Healthy,
of the City of Mount Healthy,
to which I am appointed,
to which I am appointed,
and to the best of my ability
and to the best of my ability
will discharge the duties
will discharge the duties
of this office.
of this office.
Thank you, Mayor. Daniel, welcome.
Come on up.
Take this seat over here.
How relief.
So I'll tell you right now, everybody up here is good people,
Well, that's good.
except for me. I got some council members who won't even talk to me.
I doubt that.
Okay, roll call.
Mrs. Lingo,
Here.
Miss Moody,
Here.
Mr. Parsons, Mr. Redding,
Here.
Mrs. Dosa,
Here.
Mr. George,
Here.
Mr. Mueller.
Here.
Okay, we have one person absent, Mr. Parsons. Thank you. You get catching on to me, aren't you? Would anybody like to excuse Mr.?
Make a motion to excuse Mr. Parsons.
Okay, we have a motion by Mr. Mueller to excuse Mr. Parsons. Do I have a second?
Mr. George.
Mr. George
Mr. George.
made the
that you?
motion.
I'm sorry.
It was Cordell.
I thought Dan made the motion. It's okay. I'm sorry.
Jumping in head first.
Mr. Cordell. All right. You take care of me, dear.
I got you.
Okay. You have before you the minutes from our last meeting, November 2nd. Does anybody have any corrections, additional input about these minutes? Bob not here.
And I read through it fast, so
I did too. I did read through it.
I did read through it, though.
I saw something. Oh, I see one thing, maybe. You can't go without one thing. Under guest and special events, with the port, the first paragraph, 1, 2. The fourth line, the Hamilton County Land Bank's mission is return, is to return,
Yep.
vacant.
So you're adding the word "to" between
Yeah.
"is" and "return."
And that's the only thing I saw.
Anybody else have anything? Then I would like to ask for a motion to approve the minutes as corrected.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the minutes as amended.
Okay, Mr. Redding has made a motion to approve as amended. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Ms. Lingo? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. No special events or guests, right? Okay. Public input. Anybody like to address council tonight? Come on up. Good. Over at the microphone, we need your name and address.
My name's Carrie Davis. I live on Royal Heights in Coleraine. I'm the Director of Child Advocacy for Rights and Equity, established in 2003. We are a recognized nonprofit in the state of Ohio, and we have several members from Mount Healthy. And we've done really great by them, by the way. Mr. Wolf told me there's an email circulating about don't listen to Carrie Davis. I love it. You know you're stirring the pot when people are sending emails about you saying, don't listen to her, don't listen to her. I consider that a badge of honor. And the reason is my organization is making extraordinary progress on, for the first time ever, having rules implemented for the solid waste industry in Hamilton County. 8 months ago, I did a presentation to the committee, and they all looked at me dumbfounded. They had no idea that they had the authority to make rules about landfills, disposal sites, recycling. They had no clue. It had not been discussed on that committee for over 20 years. In January of 2000, the committee last brought up the issue of, isn't it time for us to make some rules here? And they got shouted down. In February of 2000, Bill Rumpke was appointed to the committee, in violation of the statute, by the way, and rules were never discussed again. So they were very surprised to learn that they had the authority to regulate landfills, the stench you smell, going to 275. I'm quite certain it comes up here sometimes because I'm in Groesbeck, and I get it in my front yard sometimes. But they are proposing to expand another landfill out in Whitewater Township. And because we have no rules, we can't stop them. We cannot stop them. Only the Ohio EPA will, and they really don't have the authority to address issues such as depreciating property values, the neighborhoods declining in blight, the stench, the trash. They don't have the authority to address that. But the solid waste facility and the Board of Commissioners do have that authority. After 8 months, they finally said, oh my God, she's right. And right now I have 2 members of the Rules Subcommittee who support 2 of the 3, and 4 of the 7 committee members from the Solid Waste Committee supporting this initiative. It's been really horrible, the fight. The fight has been horrible, as the email is indicative of. There's a lot of powers that do not want this passed. In Colerain Township, our trustee race was inundated with $16,000 in contributions from Rumpke. $8,000 to Miss Ulrich and $8,000 to Dan Unger, and they both got elected. You all, in about a year, will have the duty to vote on ratifying these rules. So you will have an opportunity to formally approve, recommend changes, eliminations, that kind of thing, in about a year to a year and a half. So this is important. It is your business, even though this sounds like a county committee. You will have the ultimate authority. Your weight of your vote is based on the population of your community. So what's going on now that they recognize that I've been telling the truth the whole long time, and I'm not a liar, and I'm not making things up, is that 2 members of the subcommittee made a proposal last Wednesday to the Solid Waste Subcommittee to implement rules. They designed a rule. I designed one also. Theirs is actually better than mine, and that means it's really, really good. And tomorrow, we are expecting the committee to actually vote on it. I thought I had sent your city manager an email, but I can't even find it. So if I can't find it, I must not have sent it to him. Advising you guys of this about 5 days ago. And I wanted you to do a friendly vote of support for the commissioners implementing rules in Hamilton County. But you guys have not had the opportunity to review that rule. You haven't been briefed on it at all. So I will be sending it to him, and I'm sure he'll give it out to you. You do not have time before your next meeting, your next meeting's down the road. But it's imperative that the Board of Commissioners hears from you and knows whether or not you, as a personal elected official, support making rules that gives the Board of Commissioners, get this is so beautiful. It gives the Board of Commissioners the authority to veto the Ohio EPA and say, we don't care that they meet your minimum standards, which our standards are the 6th lowest in the country, okay, for pollution. We don't care if they meet your standards. This rule says what our standards are, and that puts community first, residents first, health first, our businesses growing and expanding, puts them first. So I would ask, once you get briefed and get all the documents, that you individually, because I'll be writing about this, individually send a letter of support to the Board of Commissioners asking them to promptly adopt rules to regulate the land solid waste industry. Blah, blah, blah. Yes, ma'am.
I just happen to know, because I was a principal in 2 schools that were in Corrigan Township. I have relatives that live in Corrigan Township. I grew up in Corrigan Township. I will tell you that there was a committee 10 years ago that fought this, went to court, and the money that has gone into politicians is criminal. And the Ohio EPA wasn't about to do anything about it. It's like, well, you know, we need a landfill. So I commend your efforts. I've seen so much that has been, and, you know, Corrigan Township really didn't do their job either, because again, Rumpke's got money and they give money out. And whereby I appreciate that we need a landfill. I do appreciate your, you know, what you're trying to impose as far as regulations, because you're right, there are no regulations, and Rumpke pretty much controls it.
And that was the beauty. I'm an advocate. What I do with my organization is I do, because my degree's in legal studies, but I'm not an attorney. I do legal research on governmental entities' compliance with state and federal law and policy and procedure. And I was researching a different topic, but I was involved in a lot of the Rumpke issues in Coleraine.
Yeah.
And Michelle Balls, the writer of the email going out saying, don't listen to her, she's nobody. I would call her and say, the EPA's telling me that the Solid Waste Committee has authority. And she would tell, for 10 years, she told me, no, we do not have any authority. So when I went to that first meeting and said, here's the rule, 3734.53 of the ORC says blah, 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 she threw a fit. And she told me, frankly, Carrie, you don't want to get on the bad side of me. And she's made sure I felt it for 8 months. But eventually the attorney stepped in, said Ms. Davis is correct. We do have the authority. And here's what's notable. Every county around Hamilton County has these rules.
Right.
That's why they don't have a landfill. And that's why they are all dumping their garbage in Hamilton County, is because they have rules that say, we're raising the standards if you want to build a landfill here. So Rumpke's really, I think Rumpke's, don't get me wrong, I've got great plans for how this is going to benefit Rumpke and give them a lot of advantages. I have a holistic plan. They're not seeing it yet because they're so afraid of this. But I have to do this to get us to the point where we have a more collaborative approach to our landfill needs. So I do ask you to look at it. You've been generous with your time. I got to run to Harrison where they're going to boo me. And please write your individual letters.
Ma'am, what's your name one more time?
My name is Carrie Davis. I also run the Cincinnati Post. We acquired the naming rights for the Cincinnati Post about a year ago. It's all legal. And Scripps Howard even gave us a blessing in an email saying it was fine. You can read the entire history of this if you go to that website and punch in trash talk, and all the articles we've written on this issue are there, and you can get the full history. And you're welcome to call me. Mr. Wolf can give you my phone number if you have any questions, but I work nights, so after 2 in the afternoon.
One quick question. Have any jurisdictions passed a resolution
Actually, you're the first one
that you've talked to?
that I came and spoke to, and I'm squeezing you in before I go to Harrison and
Okay.
get Ada Live out there. They don't like me.
Well,
which
we-
I understand,
we can boo
you
you.
know, that's
Boo.
life.
Well, as soon as I get the email, I'll make sure I share it with everybody.
Yeah, and please feel comfortable calling me. You can tell I like to talk. I'm happy to talk to you and answer any questions you have. The meeting tomorrow will be at 1:30 at the Solid Waste Committee. Keep your fingers crossed that the first proposal goes through, and feel free to come down and weigh in or participate by Zoom.
Mr. Redding has a question.
Yes,
So-
sir.
Davis.
So at the Solid Waste Committee meeting tomorrow,
Yes, sir.
and where exactly is that?
William Howard Taft at the Environmental Services Building, I think it's 250 is the address. It is available on Zoom. Unfortunately, they don't video it, so if you want to watch the jaws drop, which I love watching them eat it, you'll have to participate by Zoom if you want to see it, unless you go down in person. And of course, you'll see me. But I'm in a really good spot. I've gotten them to a really good spot. I have a majority on both the subcommittee, the committee. Alicia Reese, I believe, is on my side on this, but she has not said that specifically. I'm pretty sure Ms. Dumas is, and I know Janice Driehaus is waving the flag saying, it's time. It is time that we protect our communities like everyone else. Why are we letting them dump on us and deal with all these problems without giving our residents protection?
Okay, thank you for
Thank
coming
you.
up. Ms.
Sorry,
Davis.
I just ruined my mouth.
Is there anyone else who would like to address council tonight? Sylvia, anything for old time's sake? You want to come up here? Okay, well, thank you, Sylvia. Committee reports. Committee reports. Business Partnership Alliance, beautification, Jenny?
Yes, I went to the Business Association meeting. Basically, they mostly talked about the December 11th, and wasn't sure exactly, Denise is working on that committee, who all's been contacted. They talked about a $10 from businesses for the luminaries, but I guess this is for the luminaries, I'm not sure. Yeah.
I got mixed.
There's a lot of things still up in the air yet, but it is going to be December 11th. The Historical Society will be open that day. So there'll be a QR code that you can click on and take a picture of, and it'll come up with all the businesses that are open and anything that's happening. I know through COVID, there won't be any activities.
No,
but
we
there'll
asked
be-
that there won't be, yeah.
But there'll be some highlighted, to go into the businesses. The Alliance has started their youth program. It's 1 day a week. However, they are also going to be at Tikkun on Wednesdays. They have 2 co-directors, so they're very excited about this. And they have a fundraiser right now. You get on their website, and it's the squares again, the grid, and you can click on a grid depending upon how much you want to give, and can do it online. If you don't want to do it online, you can call them, and they would be happy to accept any donations. This is their annual fundraiser. The Sharing Tree is also going to be distributing gift cards early in December. So again, if you can make a contribution to the Sharing Tree, you make it out to the Sharing Tree, and I know you can drop off your donations to the city. And they've been working on making sure that between the Alliance and the Sharing Tree, that families will be covered for gift cards for food and toys for children. And that's it on a business partnership and alliance. Beautification, no report.
Okay, thank you, Jenny. Anybody have any questions? Sylvia?
I was made aware today at my church, now the United Methodist, by our pastor, that on December the 11th, there's going to be a concert in the afternoon.
Oh,
And it's sponsored by the Alliance, and our church will provide the refreshments. And the jazz trio will be there to provide the music. The jazz trio is at our church on the 2nd and the 4th month and provide all the music. And they're very, very good, and they'll be singing Christmas carols. So all of you are invited.
Great.
thank you.
Thanks, I'm glad you're here to give us that information. Thank you.
Yes, Joe?
What time was that, Sylvia?
believe it's at 4.
4 PM? Okay.
If it should be different, I will call and tell Bill and he can tell y'all.
Okay.
Because Paul Young will be having activities also.
Starting at
From
4.
4 until
4 to
7
7.
also. Yep.
There was some mention made at a meeting or two ago, one when I was here, about a possible craft show. Is that happening?
I haven't heard it.
I know that there's going to be something at Fibonacci on November 27th, which is a craft kind of show, and I believe that's Small Business Saturday. I was gonna, Bill, could you?
No, you said December.
I'm sorry, November 27th, I'm sorry. Is there any way we could put on the city website about supporting small business for the holidays? And maybe Small Business Saturday. I'm not sure exactly the time at Fibonacci, but I know, do you have it down?
From 12 to 3.
12 to 3? Okay.
27th?
And I am one of the people that has the login to the Facebook page, so I can also share Small Business
Yeah, I
Saturday
think
there.
it's, especially this time of year, it's important that we support our small businesses, even if you get gift cards from the businesses to give to people for the holidays.
Okay, thank you, Jenny. Finance, Mr. Parsons. Does anybody else have a finance report? Okay.
I don't, but we did get the first cut of the
Right.
finance, I believe.
Yep.
in an
Yeah, we
email.
did.
Other than, I think the first reading, we're going to have next council meeting?
Yeah, I'll go over my report.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Parks, Ms. Lingo.
No report.
Safety and Streets, Mr. Redding.
Just two things. Went through the construction on Adams Road, on the street construction on Adams, Elizabeth Hickman. Over the weekend, I saw where they were laying sidewalks, the sidewalk on Elizabeth Street. I believe everybody's got their first coat of blacktop. Looks really good. So everything's progressing as expected. I have not heard of any issues from anyone. Then I wanted to follow up with Bill on Rumpke on Hickman Street. Has that all been resolved? Picking up the trash or,
Yeah, I mean, till the next time. Yeah.
okay. I mean, so I was not aware that there were multiple issues.
Well, I mean,
On Hickman.
we have this when construction goes on. I mean,
Okay,
depending on the driver, what's going on, if there's equipment on the street, they may go down, they may not. But
okay,
we've had a lot of lively discussions about it, so we haven't heard anything lately.
okay.
Lately being, this week, which I think Rumpke goes down, is on Tuesday, so, but, yeah.
And then finally, on safety, I was comparing Vince's two reports that he puts out every month, and it looks like the numbers changed for some prior year statistics. So if it's okay, Bill, I'll touch base with Vince and just see what, could have been somebody got off a line or something. I didn't see anything like that, but,
Okay,
so something's askew there, so.
okay.
And that is all I have.
Thank you, sir. Schools, Mr. George.
At this time, no report.
Okay. Library, Ms. Dosa.
No report.
Urban Tree, Ms. Lingo.
No report.
We Thrive. There's no name behind that, I guess.
I'll cover that.
You have anything on that, Mayor?
Yeah, there's a meeting next week, on the 23rd at Teakin Farm from 4 to 5. Anyone who would like to join is welcome.
Thank you. Then we'll just turn it over to the mayor's report. Mr. Wolf.
Just a couple things. Also, on December 11th, sounds like it's before everything else. Sounds like everything else starts around 4. At 2 o'clock, they're having an open house and ribbon cutting for the new Early Learning Center where Rex Ralph used to be. And it's open to the public and everybody's invited, and I know they want as many community members as possible. So that's at 2 o'clock on December 11th. So it could be a pretty full day if you go to that and go to all the other events, but just want to let you know that's going on. I did regarding Miss Davis, so just a little history. I got an email from a representative of Hamilton County Resource, the solid waste manager.
Is that Michelle?
Yes.
Yeah.
Basically telling us that Ms. Davis is not a representative of their organization. It attached this information. So what we never got anything from Ms. Davis until tonight, other than what was attached to the solid waste manager's email. So that kind of took us off guard. She was asking for a resolution. I told her that wasn't gonna happen tonight before the meeting because we didn't really know what was going on. So she expressed to me that County Commissioner Driehaus supported it and probably the other two. So I'm going to follow up with Michelle tomorrow at Solid Waste, and then I will follow up with the Commissioner's office to kind of see what's going on. 'Cause right now, I'm not quite sure. We're getting messages from different people. So I'll reach out, kind of figure out what's going on, let everybody know. I also forwarded you the email from Solid Waste. So that way you can see her email and see the attachment. There's no comment on it, just attach it in the email. If any residents want a copy of it, I can send it to you as well. What else? And that is it, I believe. Yes, that is it.
Thank you, Mayor. Questions for the mayor? City Manager, Mr. Coker.
Thanks. Just to start off where Joe was talking about, so we are gonna have a finance committee meeting at 2:00 on Monday, the 22nd. I know Denise was able to get off, and I know Joe and Bob, that's right before they usually wake up in the morning.
That's not
They're
true.
retired, but, so anyway, that was great, so. But anyway,
Check.
2:00 on the 22nd, 2/2/22. So, and yeah, the committee's had the report, Scott's had it, Scott's working off of getting ready on the housekeeping side of things, and so yes, the plan is first reading on the first meeting, and Scott will take my format, and I'll have that in the packet with everybody, the format that everybody's used to seeing, the spreadsheet format. He'll roll it up into his format, take a first reading at the first meeting in December, and then the second meeting, as usual, will be the final reading of the budget, the salary ordinances that will tie into everything that's in the budget, and then housekeeping, which will get us going into the new year. So, yep, everything seems to be on schedule. And Greg put a good little report together. I tell you, that's what I say with Greg. I know he's watching at home now too, so be careful of what you tell him to do. You better make sure you want it done, because it gets done. So I thought he put a good report here, and I like the fact that we got about $750
That's
in
great.
recycling revenue from that. And he also, to be in compliance with the zoning code, we took down our signs on the building that we own, and we sold one of those today for $700. So it didn't quite offset the cost of the building, but it helps. So yeah, so they've been busy doing a great job, as always.
No, I asked about the same.
And just tomorrow, there is a Teams meeting, which is a Zoom type meeting with Clover Nook. To knock on wood, and the chief's going to be part of it, but things have calmed a little. They have gotten some things in place. I know the last email I received back from the chief is that they do have the license plate readers. They've made some arrests off of that, and some things have been moving in the right direction. But we just want to get a full update on where everything stands with that. So that will happen tomorrow. And then just the last thing, and it's kind of, I hate to end on a sour note, but it's disappointing, and it's kind of concerning and kind of not surprising. We gave a police exam because we had an officer resign, and we had exhausted the list, and only 4 people took it. Only 2 people passed it. Now, the two people that passed it, one was a cadet that we had brought through, and then one was also a part-timer, so we know we have at least one or two candidates, but not many. We advertised for a fire exam to be given next week, or might even have been Wednesday. Had one person sign up. Wow. Now, we think a little bit with that, of course, this is our second time, this is because we did have a full-time firefighter resign. We are gonna, so we punted to January, and we're not gonna give a test for one person. We're going to, what we're gonna do, and we've always had this position, we're fortunate, everybody that we hired in the first round of the seven people that we hired were either a paramedic or were very close to finishing paramedic school, which can sometimes be a 2-year process. We put in the ad that they had to be a paramedic, so we think that probably kept a lot of people away. So we're gonna put in there that they had to be a firefighter EMT and either enrolled in paramedic school by the time we hire them. So we're hoping that will expand our list and get us a bigger group to look at. But, you know, I mean, these are great positions, and I think maybe that's a big driver with the fire side of things. We, you know, as we go through this process, we'll live and we'll learn, and we'll go from there. So, but anyway, that's all I have tonight.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Coker. Any questions?
Yep.
Joe.
The Zoom meeting tomorrow,
Team yes,
meeting,
yeah.
Zoom team.
I just don't want you on
What-
Zoom.
I know. What time is that?
Oh, I'm sorry, 1:30.
1:30?
Yes. We got to be careful. We can only have, we could only have 2 members to be on that. So I know Bob was planning on being on it. So if somebody else, Joe, are you interested?
Well, the problem is I think the William Howard, the environmental building meeting is, I think at
Same time.
1:30 also.
Yeah.
So, okay, I'll see.
I'll forward it to
Bob?
Joe, and then we'll report back to everybody on
Okay.
where we're at.
Okay.
Because we don't want to have
Bob?
more than, 3, really, because it would be then a committee, and we haven't advertised for it and so forth, so.
So Bob's going to be on it also?
He is.
Okay. So he's going to.
He'll report back.
From the road, or I guess maybe
Yeah,
he'll be back, so.
Yeah, he's good.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, any other questions?
I have a question.
Yes.
So we're hiring police. How many officers do we need?
We need one.
We need
One
one.
full-time.
Okay.
Yeah.
Firefighters, how many?
One.
One full-time?
Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah, there was a time we'd have 30, 40 people sign up for these tests. And
Yeah.
I'd see things that are going on today.
Mm-hmm.
It's very interesting.
Yeah.
For Greg and the maintenance crew, I called up here to the office, talked to Ray, and he sent me over to Greg. I found a deer shot laying dead, actually right over the fence in my neighbor's property.
Wow.
It was a 8-point buck.
What, he got him?
Somebody shot him. That's what Greg told me. He says he had a big hole in his rear end. But anyway,
He was not shot as of yesterday.
he's been dead for a week.
Oh, well, then we got another 8-pointer running around, Ross.
No, this one was dead.
Okay.
Greg and his boys came down and was able to drag him under the fence because they couldn't get through the property on Van Fleet. And I gave him permission to come on my property, which Bill doesn't like, but that's,
It's always a
I-
tricky situation
I
when we
didn't
go
want
on
to smell
private.
the animal.
Yeah, when we go on private property, it's always a challenge.
I understand. But anyway, they come down and took care of it, and I appreciate that very much. So apparently there was another one over on Hoffner just the day before that, so I don't know if that one was
Tis the
shot or just
season.
died.
I usually get about 8 in my yard.
There was a 6-pointer walking down Joseph on the sidewalk
Yeah.
Sunday.
He's been
morning.
around our neighborhood for quite a
Yeah,
while.
yeah.
Yeah,
Did they tag that buck?
they threw him in a dumpster.
Okay, all right.
No,
You know if it
His
was,
back end was eaten out of him, and
oh, the
critters had already
coyotes got to him then, I guess, so.
Yeah, critters had already been after him.
Did it look like a gunshot or did it look like an arrow?
I
Couldn't
don't
really
know.
tell.
I have no idea.
I mean, it's.
Okay.
on that
Moving
much.
on,
It's kinda hard to
Finance
tell.
Director, Mr. Bauer.
Let's see, October's in your packets. I think Bill pretty much covered anything else I would say, so next 2 meetings will be getting a lot from me, but that's all I have tonight.
Okay, questions for Scott? Okay, we're going to move on to ordinances and resolutions. We have a second reading of an ordinance, ordinance number 21-1968. An ordinance accepting plat of public storm sewer easement for sewer purposes located near the addresses ranging within 7941 to 8005 on Elizabeth Street. We had the first reading at the last council meeting. Questions or comments? This is to get in down there at the end of Elizabeth and work?
Yes, this was a long time coming. Yeah, but it will be, once the ordinance is passed, then our solicitor will then record the easement.
Okay. And the residents are all aware of that? I wasn't here, so that's why I'm asking.
Are they aware? Oh, yeah, they signed, they each
they
signed off
signed off on it?
on the plat that will be recorded. Yeah.
All right. Any questions from council? And what is your wish, council? Do I have a motion to adopt?
I make a motion to adopt ordinance 21-1968.
Reading has made a motion to adopt. Do I have a second?
Second.
Was that Jenny?
Yes. Yes.
Ms. Moody has made a seconded. Roll call vote, please.
Mrs. Lingo?
Aye.
Ms. Moody?
Aye.
Mr. Parsons? Mr. Redding?
Aye.
Mrs. Dosa?
Aye.
Mr. George?
Aye.
Mr. Mueller?
I'm going to abstain.
Okay, by a vote of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, with one abstention, ordinance number 21-1968 is adopted. We have no second readings of resolutions, but we do have a first reading on an ordinance. Ordinance number 21-1972, an ordinance assessing cost of a vacant foreclosed property registration fees and declaring an emergency.
I think the last time Mr. Parsons brought this up about what we put together a rental
Yeah, he did.
ordinance, and a lot of it it got very, very stripped down. This is really one of the only things that was left, is that if a property has been vacant and is foreclosed, then we require the property owner to register and keep it a fee. Thought behind that is we don't want these things sitting vacant and foreclosed, but they have to meet both of those requirements. So it's just not vacant, it's vacant and foreclosed.
Any other questions, council?
And this is declaring an emergency, correct?
Yes.
So since Bob's not here, do we need everyone to vote on this in order for this to pass?
Well, you need everybody to waive the,
Right,
waive the-
so that would include Mr. Mueller's
Mr.
vote.
Mueller, if he wasn't comfortable yet, he could.
I'm okay with
With
it.
this, okay, he could, okay, then we're good.
Okay. I make a motion to waive the two reading rule on ordinance 21-1972.
Okay, Ms. Moody has made a motion to waive the two reading rule. Do I have a second?
Second.
Mr. Redding. Roll call.
Mrs. Lingo?
Aye.
Ms. Moody?
Aye.
Mr. Parsons? Mr. Redding?
Aye.
Mrs. Dosa?
Aye.
Mr. George?
Aye.
Mr. Mueller?
Aye.
Okay, by a vote of 6-0, the two reading rule has been suspended. Are there any other questions? And what is your wish, council?
I make a motion to adopt.
Ms. Dosa has made a motion to adopt.
I'll second.
Mr. George has seconded.
Mrs. Lingo?
Aye.
Ms. Moody?
Aye.
Mr. Parsons? Mr. Redding?
Aye.
Mrs. Dosa?
Aye.
Mr. George?
Aye.
Mr. Mueller?
Aye.
Okay, by a vote of 6-0, ordinance number 21-1972 is adopted. That is all of our legislation. Old Business Council. No old business? New business? You guys are being too easy tonight.
I know everybody is probably in agreement with me of the shootings that went on last night and how concerning they are. And I do have faith that our police department is working with the other police departments and trying to resolve how this happened. Before I came here, I looked at another news source that gave a little more information. I'm not sure it's true than what I read earlier this morning, but it looked like they were making progress, but I don't know, so.
Very concerning.
Those are the shootings that took place at Walmart and then moved into Mount Healthy.
Yeah, and then back out in Corrigan Township again.
Yeah, again. Awful what people are doing.
Yes, it is.
Any other new business, council?
I'd like to make a motion to adjourn.
Ms. Lingo has made a motion to adjourn. Do I have a second?
Second.
Ms. Dos has seconded. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. Meeting is adjourned. Thank you, everyone.
Yeah.
First one down.